Founded in 1997, the Rosemary Foundation is a Petersfield-based charity which provides palliative care and support to patients and families in their own homes. Working within a 15-mile radius of Petersfield, our Hospice at Home service provides care and support when and where it's needed most. We provide a full supportive, hands-on nursing service for patients suffering from cancer or other life-limiting conditions. All the care is provided in close consultation with other professionals, where necessary, and our team of qualified nurses are available 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Coping with the loss of a loved one is never easy, and as well as providing a high level of care, the Rosemary Foundation offers counselling and bereavement support during these difficult and uncertain times. Our care does not end with the death of a loved one. We're there to help families as they come to terms with their loss.
I only really heard about the Rosemary Foundation after my husband had been discharged from QA hospital. He had leukemia and had been in and out of hospital over the last few weeks. It had got to the stage where he wasn't responding to treatment and he just wanted to come home. By the Monday, I was getting very distressed. He was obviously deteriorating quite quickly and I had just nobody to help me with his care. My daughter came round with a phone number of the Rosemary Foundation, and in complete distress I actually phoned them up, and a voice at the end of the phone said, "Try to calm down, I'll be with you in an hour." And within the hour, Penny from the Rosemary Foundation was at the door. I can't begin to tell you the relief I felt when I saw this person standing there who was going to come in and help me with the care of my husband. As soon as I saw her, I burst into tears. I did quite a lot of crying that week. She just gave me a hug and said, "Let's sort you out first." And she brought me into the conservatory. We sat down and I explained the situation, by which time I was feeling more in control of the situation, and then she went in to care for Ron.
Well, of course, Stephen was diagnosed 13 years ago, and for a long time we treated it just like a chronic illness. He was terminal 3 years ago, and he still put it to the back of his mind. He wouldn't talk to anyone but myself. His attitude was, it's in him, he couldn't do anything about it. So I had lots of worries, particularly about what would happen towards the end. I was very concerned about how it would all play out. The one thing we knew was he didn't want to die in hospital. And I was left thinking, dear God, how will I manage it all?
Penny came to care for Ron for 6 days. I was a little apprehensive about this because Ron was a very dignified person and I wondered how he would react to somebody helping with his care. I need not have worried. Penny's care and kindness and sheer professionalism ensured that his dignity was not compromised in any way. I think, in fact, he even enjoyed seeing her in the mornings.
But when the Rosemary were introduced to me and I started talking to Stella, it was very easy to talk through my problems and to plan out exactly what we would do when the inevitable came. That meant I could really relax and concentrate on Stephen because I knew everything was secure.
Well, sadly, Ron died on the 6th day. I was on my own. I didn't really know what to do. Phoned the out-of-hours doctor, who said it would be at least 5 hours before he could come round to certify the death. So again, in tears, I phoned the Rosemary Foundation and Penny was back with us within half an hour. First of all, she did the comforting bit with Karen and myself, and once she was satisfied that we were fairly in control of the situation, she went in to see to Ron, and she washed him and she put him into clean pyjamas and tidied him up, made him look as if he was peacefully sleeping. And I have to say that that was a tremendous comfort to us, to look at him and think he was just fast asleep.
A few years ago, my wife became ill and had to go into hospital, and she was diagnosed with bone cancer. Now, we had help from the local nurses coming in to help here and there and wash and whatnot. But my wife was, if you like, not happy. She saw somebody different probably twice a day and might have only seen the same person once a week. But the Rosemary people got more and more involved, and they would come and you would see the same person nearly all the time.
As you know, he wouldn't let the Rosemary in for quite a long time. He was very, very independent. But when he did, he realised how lovely all the girls were, and he actually looked forward to them coming and seeing him and chatting through whatever he was doing or however he felt. And then, of course, towards the end, when you started coming in really regularly and nursing him, that was wonderful, because his mother and I didn't have to worry about injections or tablets. It was all taken care of, so that we could just sit back and enjoy our time with Stephen and make sure he was as happy and contented as he could possibly be.
The last few months of my wife's illness, not only did the Rosemary Foundation provide nurses during the day, they also provided nurses to sit with her at night, because she had to have 24-hour care. And that allowed me to get on a few nights a week to go and have a sleep in bed, because otherwise I used to be helping and in the room, probably sitting in a chair or trying to doze in the chair, which wasn't the best, but it was all we could do.
Towards the end, it was very difficult, judging the amount of pain relief he needed, and he had to have a second syringe driver fitted, but that seemed to sort that out. And he had a very, very hearty meal on the Friday before he died. His mother cooked him his really special favourites, and after that he just quietly slipped away, very peaceful, because the Rosemary Foundation girls had just about sorted the pain relief beautifully, so he could just slip away and be relaxed and happy.
My wife died, and we called out the Rosemary nurse, and she came immediately, and she helped us do all the things that you have to do when people die, and I've always thanked them for that. After the funeral, they didn't lose contact with me. In fact, the contact with me then became more. And they have a bereavement counsellor, and I became almost friends with the lady, and even to this day I still see her at the Rosemary office, and there's always a friendly smile, how you doing? And so the Rosemary people don't just look after the sick, they look after the family as well.
When he died, my first thought was to ring the Rosemary nurses, and I got hold of Julie, who came up straight away and looked after Stephen so beautifully and so gently, talking to him all the while, which I thought was so good for his dignity. And she finished and went and hugged us all and made us feel very special. In the morning, Elspeth came, and the one thing that amazed me is the first thing she said was, "I've got to go and talk to my man." And she went and talked to Stephen, and only then talked to us about how we felt and how we were coping. It was lovely to know that they still considered Stephen to be a person and have dignity. And when she left, she went and said goodbye to him, and that was very important to his mother and I.
About a year after my wife died, the counsellor from the Rosemary Foundation I was seeing suggested that I might like to help in their office doing some admin work somewhere, because all their administration is carried out by volunteers. They have no paid staff at all. So I'd worked in an office all my life, and I thought, well, I can probably be of some help. So along I went. That was about 3 years ago, and I've been helping there ever since. And it was a payback for them, because they were so good to me and my wife.
I think I was very lucky to hear of the Rosemary Foundation. It's a very small charity. It relies entirely on donations, and it obviously has limited resources.
Stephen had a motorbike which he loved, and he'd sold it a few weeks before he died, and he was very insistent that £1,000 should be given to the Rosemary straight away, because the one thing that concerned him was their shortage of funds. So I was so proud to be able to present that to Barbara. And subsequently, the collection at his funeral was for the Rosemary. I thought then it might be the end of it, but oh no, Stella, the counsellor, and Elspeth have kept in touch with me. I know that I only have to pick the phone up and I will be able to talk to one of the Rosemary nurses and to be able to say how dreadful I feel, or how much help I need, or that I've got a problem.
I will always do anything in my power that I can do to spread the word and support the Rosemary Foundation. But the service that I received from them when my husband was so ill, it was more than money could buy.
All our services are provided free of charge. The Rosemary Foundation depends on fundraising, individual donations, and legacies to continue our work for the local community. If you would like more information about our Hospice at Home service, or you'd like to help in fundraising projects, please contact us at the Rosemary Foundation, Hospice at Home, 35 Lavant Street, Petersfield, Hants, GU32 3EL. The telephone number is 01730 266 329, or the email info@rosemary-foundation.org.uk. The Rosemary Foundation. Together for the community.